Hi guys, and welcome back to the Nail on a Sunday podcast with me, Chris, and my beautiful wife and co-host, Rebecca.
Hello.
Hey, baby.
I was just thinking about this earlier. Are you going to say that even when we've had like a really bad argument or we're not speaking to each other?
Honey,
When we come and do
let's
this?
I just want to, today we're going to talk about brand ambassadors, affiliates, and influencers in the nail industry. We'll get to that in a second. I just want to describe how my morning has gone so far. Woke up, had cuddles from the dogs, took the dogs for a walk. They walked okay. It was a bit kind of rainy. Came back, had some nice breakfast, tried to catch up on some Formula One, went to wake my beautiful wife up so we can come in here and record these podcasts and get them out to you guys because we've got tons of new viewers, tons of new listeners. Thank you so much for subscribing. And Rebecca said, I think there's a small leak in the toilet downstairs. It's got a funny smell. Do you want to have a look at it? I think to myself, right, there's two options, right? There's two types of people in this world. There's people who will pay someone to go do it.
Yeah, and they'll do it properly and they won't need to do it again and everything will be nice and neat and look great. Or there's Chris.
Honey, look, there's me. Well, I'll just go have a look at it. Yeah? I'm going to flash up on the screen what happened after I looked at it, 20 minutes after I looked at it. Yes, so there is a slight leak. A tiny little gasket has gone. Luckily, I have the knowledge, the power, and the gumption to be able to fix this. But
Do you have the time, Chris?
that's one thing I don't have is time. But I will get it done come...
And what does your friend Matt talk about? Time trade-off?
Time trade-off, you're right, but Matt is a farmer, so he goes and does everything himself. There are certain things that he doesn't. So if we were living in Canada and we had oh gosh, it'll come back to me.
Describe it and maybe I'll help you.
They are kind of like Amish gypsies who are very good with technology.
I have no idea what you're talking about.
Something abites, something... Anyway, so yes, okay, so there is a time trade-off, but moreover, it's relatively simple to do. If someone comes out, they're going to charge like 800 quid. Yeah? In materials, it's going to cost us less than £100. So there's time.
But it's not going to look very good.
Honey, by the time you paint it,
It's not going to... Exactly. And when do I have time to do
honey,
that?
you will make time.
I know I won't. I won't because I've got brows, I've got everything, Dakota's operation, we've got a lot going on.
Let's talk about Dak real quick. Thank you so much for your well wishes. Lots of people said nice things about Dakota and his hip replacement. It's been put off by a week, of course.
Okay, it's not the problem is that Chris thinks that Dakota is the most important dog in the world, and of course he is to us and Bailey. But there are other things at play, and there's a lot of moving parts when it comes to a hip replacement. They have to get the specialist piece of equipment because of the size of him. They need to get the implants for him, which come from another place. And there needs to be a team ready. There needs to be everything ready in place, Chris. And all these things have to come together.
Yeah, and if the doctors, if you call them that, at Glasgow had just done their job, Dakota would have had this hip replacement by now. They just dragged their heels because they are just idiots. Makes me so angry. It just makes me so angry that we, say God forsake, say we send a parcel out to a customer and it arrives and it's, I don't know, got a bashed corner. But the contents is completely fine. We get an angry email.
I know.
This guy dragged his heels for the best part of 2.5 weeks for a referral. He didn't even have to do anything. 3 weeks. He didn't have to do anything. All I had to do is type up an email to another place to say this dog is a candidate for hip replacement. It's not even like the NHS where you kind of don't really have to pay for it. We have to pay for it. We've paid him. Did we send an angry email? No.
Because we don't have the time.
It just makes me so goddamn angry. Anyway, let's get back to the pod. Okay, so thanks to all of our new watchers, new listeners. I'm so sorry you had to endure that to begin with.
Maybe I'll take it out.
Yeah, maybe I'll take it out. But more to the point, if you're here, thank you. And let's talk about the competition real quick. We are running the biggest competition that we have ever done. Mm-hmm. What did they get?
They get over £1,700 worth of stuff. So they are going to win our Black Friday bundle, which has 75 gel polishes, 5 rubber bases, 15 Angels, which is our builder gel, and then they get a mix of tops and bases, primer, etc., etc. And they also get a lamp.
So when I was in bed this morning and I woke up at 4 a.m. because Bailey couldn't jump off Rebecca's bed, he's going grrr, so I had to go get him. By the time I went to get him, he jumped off. And I was lying awake, and I know we said we weren't going to discuss this, but I started doing math in my head. Mm-hmm. Right, how many sets of builder do you get out of a ball of gel?
I mean, how long is a piece of string?
I would say 30. Is that true?
No, I wouldn't say that many. I think you're more around the 20 mark.
Okay, 20 mark. And so you charge £40 for a builder set?
Again, how long is a piece of string?
Okay. So say you did all those things. Anyway, I sat it out. It's like £10,000 you would make from that,
Really?
give or take.
You sure?
And by the time I start putting the rubber
I feel like
bases,
your maths is way off here.
by the time I sat and put the rubber bases and everything else in, and the 75 gel polishes, and you definitely get more than 30 for the gel polish, right?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so I was putting
way.
conservatively at 30 for that and 30 for the builder.
Oh,
so
no. Gel polish, you're talking, right, I don't know.
50?
Yeah.
60?
Maybe.
So I would say you're well over £40,000 you could potentially make on that.
Okay, I think you're way off on that. You've not taken into consideration that you're going to need more top coats to do that many nails.
Look, I do math in my bed at 4 a.m. What do you do?
Chris has dyscalculia, so do not trust his maths. But anyway, regardless, it is a fantastic competition, and all you have to do to enter is subscribe to this channel.
Thank you.
You need to head to the Chris and Becca Nail Order TikTok page, and you need to like the video that announces the competition. It is pinned to the top. You need to make sure you're following the account and tag your nail bestie in the comments on the post. If a lot of people are commenting saying, "Oh, I don't have a nail bestie," just tag somebody that you find inspirational in the nail industry. That's what you need to do.
That's a good point. I actually screenshotted some things and I took loads of notes to discuss on the podcast, but we're using my phone to film it just now. So excellent. That was one of the things I wanted to put across, that if you don't have a nail bestie and you're just starting out,
Tag someone who inspires you.
yeah, where did you get started? Who are you watching on TikTok?
Yeah.
You know, and we appreciate that. It's real nice, real nice. There was one person who was getting lots of praise on it.
Who?
Nails by Shan. Have you
Oh,
ever
really?
heard of her? Does she have a YouTube channel?
I don't know.
Because everyone kept saying, "I love your channel. I love your channel." I think we need to look into that.
Okay.
We've actually run out of YouTube. We watch like travel YouTubers and stuff on Daily Drop, if you know.
Right, this intro's gone on for way too long. Let's get into the meat of it, please.
Okay. Can you please tell me, what is a brand ambassador?
So, a brand ambassador is somebody who represents our brand. Usually they will be passionate about the brand they're working for, and usually they will have some sort of following on social media, depending on the brand that they are ambassadoring for. It might be a small following, but it might be a humongous following. Brand ambassadors are rewarded in multiple ways, depending on the brand that they are working for. So if they're working for a big brand, you might find that they are paid a monthly wage as such. If they are working for a slightly smaller brand, you will find that it is a mutual sort of agreement where the brand ambassador is gifted maybe new releases and things like that, and then they talk about the brand which they are already passionate about.
Okay, so we'll come back to it. We'll dive more into each subject. What is an influencer?
So an influencer tends to be somebody who has a really high following. They might be paid one-off to talk about a specific product or talk about a specific brand, or it might be on a gifted basis for them to talk about the brand. Very similar to an ambassador, but rather than it being on the regular, it might just be a one-off.
On the fly. And lastly, what's an affiliate?
Again, this is going to mean something different to every brand, but it kind of sits somewhere between the two. So here at Nail Order, when we use affiliates, we will choose to work with a specific content creator for a 2-week period. They will make some content using our products, and then they will have a code that they get commission for when it is used.
Okay, excellent. That's a great way to do it. And I just want to make this clear that this is our views, Becca and Chris, not the views of Nail Order. So anything we say here is strictly
Disclaimer.
confidential.
Also, it's just based on our experiences. We can't attest to, the opinions of any other brand and how they use influencers or how they use ambassadors or affiliates, because we obviously don't know the inner workings of that. But we're kind of talking today about how we at Nail Order use them. But also, I want the title of this to be why you shouldn't want to be a brand ambassador anymore, because that is kind of what we are going to get into. And I really think the days of the brand ambassador, in my opinion, are gone, are done. They are faux pas. Or they
It's okay,
are
I'll put
a
subtitles
faux
up, guys.
So yeah.
Well, in true Nail Order, true And to Chris and Becca style, I'll just argue with Rebecca and say that you actually should become a brand ambassador and it should be on your hit list. So let's just get something out of the way. And what I was leading on to there is currently at Nail Order, we do not work with brand ambassadors, but we have done in the past.
Yes.
And I want to give a big shout out to those brand ambassadors. 'Cause
Yes.
a lot of them are a heck of a lot of fun.
They absolutely are.
We did some events with them. When we first started out, that was one of our things. We wanted brand ambassadors because I think personally it made me feel like our brand was worth something.
Yeah, I
Like,
know what you mean.
You weren't really a brand until you had brand ambassadors.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And
It's a
that-
bit self-serving, yeah.
That's what it is. And that really quickly changed.
Yeah, so when we first started, like you say, having brand ambassadors was a thing to us. It was a little bit self-serving. It was a little bit like, oh my God, I just love how into our brand this person is, and it makes us feel good, and then it made them feel good to be offered the position. And when we first started Nail Order, certainly brand ambassadorships were still a really big thing. I would say that the whole brand ambassador thing probably took off maybe around 2019, 2018, around the same time as Builder took off.
Yeah.
In the beauty industry. So yeah, 2018, 2019 until I would say 2021, maybe 2022.
Let me just paraphrase that. So I would say as some gel brands got huge, brand ambassador ship got huge, and as smaller brands have come in, I would say smaller brands probably use them less.
I don't
The
think
thing
so.
is-
No, I think, in fact, no. I think everybody, no matter the size, very much still uses them. I seen a new brand the other day advertising, our first ambassador, etc. But I do think that I don't think it is good anymore for the brand or for the nail tech. And we'll get into that. But I don't think it is a worthwhile relationship for either.
Okay, so let's get into it. Imagine you're sitting listening at home or you're watching on YouTube just now and you think to yourself, I've been a nail tech for a couple of years, I've been a nail tech for a couple of months, and I would love to be a brand ambassador for X, for Nail Order, for something.
It used to be something to...
Aspire to.
It really, really did. Like we were the same in our own salon. This fly every single time. Look at him. He's sat right here. Look at him. He's just a tiny little guy. You can just stay there. That's fine.
Sponsored by a fruit fly.
Literally, there's no food, drink, nothing in here. Anyway, always gone. Anyway, yeah, that was something we very much aspired to in our own salon. And we were like, oh my God, this could be the best thing ever for us. We thought it was going to make us, getting to be a brand ambassador. But really, when you break it down, like what is it? What is it giving you? Yes, if you work for a massive brand, you might get a payment. You might get paid, I don't know, £1,000 a month, something like that. Yeah, that covers your rent, that covers your mortgage and stuff like that. But that's only if you're in the really, really big leagues. For the most part, as far as I am led to believe, being brand ambassador doesn't pay. You don't get paid for it, but you do get gifted, which is obviously helpful if you're a working nail tech, so you get to use all the products.
What does it take to be a brand ambassador?
I would say, for first and foremost, a passion for the brand that you are using. You want to be just organically shouting about that brand, telling people how much you love it. To me, that's the first thing that is going to get you noticed by a brand if you wanted to be a brand ambassador. Next up is going to be quality of work. You need to be producing a high quality of work that fits aesthetically with the brand that you are using. So if the brand that you are using and shouting about has a very light, airy aesthetic, but you are taking very dark, underexposed pictures, that's not really going to work for them. So your aesthetic needs to match their aesthetic. What else? What other things would you say it takes to be a BA?
So when it comes to being a brand ambassador, we certainly noticed them, I think, more so because they were constantly tagging you on Instagram. Instagram's a great one to showcase your portfolio. So you would definitely notice them. Would you say that you have to use one specific brand for a brand to then take you on as a brand ambassador?
Okay, I can't speak for any other brands, but this is one of the reasons that, again, we'll get into why I don't think being a brand ambassador is good for either a brand or mainly the nail tech. I would say for the most part, brands do want to see you at least 80% dedicated to them. Certainly if you were using gels, they don't want to see you tagging any other brands of gels. They want to see you tagging just that one brand of gel.
And I remember when we first got into brand ambassadorship, we pretty much really just did cuticle owls at the time. We did some other stuff, but that was our main focus and our priority. If we seen someone tagging another brand that had cuticle owls, that would drive us up the wall. That was a long time ago, and we have a lot more stuff going on in our heads that would just be like, psh, whatever. But is that something you think a brand would be looking at and be like, don't think so?
Yeah, I think they kind of want exclusivity, especially from brand ambassadors. They don't want to be having somebody who is a brand ambassador for them, but is also raving about another brand. It doesn't fit together. It doesn't fit with the brand ambassadorship role, which is exactly why I think those type of roles are dead.
So say you are in love with a brand, you use their products. Should you be thinking to yourself, right, I really want to become a brand ambassador for that brand? What should your laser focus be?
First of all, you've got to ask yourself, why do you want to be a brand ambassador? What do you think it is going to do for you? Are you under the impression that being a brand ambassador for a brand is going to elevate you and make you more well known in the industry? I struggle to see what these days that it does give to a nail tech being a brand ambassador. You can see I'm really itching to get into this part, don't you?
I can do it, right? So let's...
It's just when you've got that little seed, that hyperfixation, it's just like I feel like I can't say anything about what I want to say without first putting this premise out there.
Yeah, okay. Let's just get into it. Mm-hmm. Why the heck should you not be a brand ambassador?
So many reasons.
Do you want to do it from a brand's point of view first?
Okay, we'll do the brand point of view.
All right.
Really, really great idea. So from our point of view,
Personal
whilst
opinion.
we loved our brand ambassadors, it felt really restrictive. And I think it's exactly the same. Restriction is number one for both the brand and the nail tech. You feel restricted to not be able to work with a wide range of content creators because you're sort of concentrating on this group of individuals that you have aligned with your brand. So going out with that is a little bit difficult.
I just want to stop you there. So what you just said there, aligned with your brand. It's hard for us as a brand to choose a mad variety of content creators to become brand ambassadors because you can't give tons of people, especially when you're a lot smaller as a brand.
You need to be working with people who are shouting about your brand.
And what you tend to find, especially a brand like Nail Order, especially in the origins when we first started, was a very specific type of person.
Yeah, it was attracting a similar audience. Yeah.
So there wasn't a diverse range of content creators out there.
There was a little bit of diversity within them in terms of their work, their style, and stuff like that. But yeah, it's quite restrictive because you're concentrating on that, which means that your attention is not able to be on other people and stuff like that. So that's what I would say from a brand point of view, why I don't think brand ambassador relationships work. I think also, in the nicest possible way, the relationships can become stale really quickly. Yeah. So when you take on a brand ambassador, you as a brand are really, really excited to offer that to that person because you know that they're going to be so excited. And then the person who's coming on as a brand ambassador is over the moon and elated with being offered that. They feel like that's everything that they've been working towards. They've been doing all the tagging, they've been doing all the content creation because they really, really want to be a brand ambassador for that brand. And as soon as they get it, well, not as soon as they get it, then they get it. And then, of course, naturally, slowly, the excitement starts to wear off. And as a result, relationships can become quite stale. Now, for most brands, as we've already discussed, brand ambassadors aren't paid. They are often gifted. Now, certainly from our point of view, when somebody is gifted something, we never put an obligation on somebody, or we don't feel like we can put an obligation on somebody. So it becomes very difficult to be able to say, we expect you to do X, Y, and Z if you are not actually paying them a monetary value. Of course, there is a lot of benefits that they get, free stuff, heavy discounts, things like that. But from my point of view, it becomes really difficult to say, I want you to do X, Y, and Z when you're not paying them. So the relationship can become a little bit stale from both sides, I think.
I think we had contracts in place, but it was more like a mutual agreement rather than a fixed, you have to do this. Yeah. And that's one of the biggest problems. If you don't have a fixed contract, then it becomes really difficult to enforce certain things.
But again, and also if you're not paying somebody, I just feel morally you can't really force somebody to do it, chase them up. Where is your picture? Where is your piece of content and stuff like that? So I guess obviously we have grown a lot since then. And when I look back, I think, no, I just it doesn't sit well with me, like specifying that somebody has to do something when you're not paying them.
Yeah, that's the thing. They were great people, so you feel obliged to take into consideration their feelings, what they have going on in their
course.
personal life and stuff like that. And if they say that I can't do it this week because of such and such, you're like, sure, no problem.
Yeah.
It's very different when you're like, oh my
Well,
God,
yeah, if
there's a
somebody's like-
marketing campaign coming out and
If
you
somebody's
need
being
that.
paid, do you know what I mean? Then that is a contractual agreement in itself. You know, they're being paid, they need to provide you a service. But if you're not paying them, then it becomes really, really difficult. So
let's get payments out the way. Now, we didn't pay our brand ambassadors.
No.
We don't know technically what other brands have been paying them, but I'm sure you've heard things in the grapevine.
Mm-hmm.
Give me a ballpark. What is somebody getting paid per month?
I've heard numbers thrown all over the place. The most common number I've heard is like £1,000 a month.
Oh.
No, wrong button.
Then we just couldn't hear it there. What?
Yeah.
£1,000
Yeah.
a month. Now, just to put that into context, what are you having to do for that?
I don't know because the agreement is not with me.
Because surely it must be producing 2 or 3 different.
I would
sets
imagine
a
there
week.
is a structure that,
Yeah.
you know, and they will be held very accountable because essentially they're a member of staff, aren't they? So a member of staff has to fulfill certain duties. So it kind of leads me on to the next thing, which is that when you agree to be a brand ambassador for somebody, not only are you a representative of that brand, so anything you do can reflect poorly or positively on that brand, the same is said the other way around. So if you're a brand ambassador for a company, and I think we've talked about this briefly before, I feel like we have, but maybe we didn't. If you're a brand ambassador for a company and something happens with that company, no matter the industry that it's in, whether, you know, maybe something controversial happens, they get cancelled for whatever reason, that is going to reflect on you as well. So it's something that you really need to think about when you're being a brand ambassador, and will lead into where there's maybe benefits to the whole like affiliate thing in a minute. But yeah, you do need to remember that they are a reflection of you and you are a reflection of them. So that can also cause restriction in terms of you thinking, maybe I shouldn't say that or do that because, you know, I don't want to affect the brand. But similarly, if the brand makes a bad decision, that can reflect poorly on you as well.
So say, for instance, you're approached by a brand. What sort of terms and conditions should you be looking out for?
I mean, if you're not being paid, you don't want anything that's really, really heavy in terms of requirements. You know, if they're asking you to do things and they're not paying, then, you know, if they're saying you must do this every day or whatever it is, then I would kind of look out for that.
So I'm guessing you would probably do this alongside of doing nails as
Yes.
you're doing treatments and clients, you're doing this alongside it.
Yes.
So would you sacrifice, or would you have to sacrifice doing to clients? Say, for instance, you were being paid that £1,000 per month. Would you sacrifice maybe giving up a day per month, per week to create content to make sure it is like banging?
I mean, that's a really good idea. If it's something that is doable for you, something that you're passionate about, then yeah. But remember, these agreements don't last forever. And whilst they said, you know, technically you're an employee, technically you're not, and they can take that away from you at any time. So that's also something to be aware of.
Let's just touch on that. Are you an employee? Are you paid on payroll?
Again, I don't know. I wouldn't know what another brand done. I don't think so.
Okay.
I don't think that you are technically. Well, you're probably a contractor.
That's what I was probably going,
yeah,
because that
probably a
way
contractor.
it's hands off from the brand. If you pay taxes on that, it's up to you,
And
baby.
if we don't want you to do it anymore, then we can just take that away at any time.
Exactly. Yeah. Is there a typical length in a contract for a brand ambassador, or is it just
I wouldn't know, but I mean, I would say like about a year is probably like a good amount of time.
okay? And what's the kind of average? Say you're a brand, a big brand. In fact, I can't even put it in context. How many brand ambassadors should you have as a brand?
I mean, there are brands out there that all different brands do it all different ways. Some of them just have a very select handful or 2 handfuls. Some of them have loads and loads and loads and loads and loads of them. I guess it's just what works for you.
Should you, as a brand, focus on numbers? And I'm going to spin that around and ask the opposite in a second. But should you focus on the number of followers that a person has versus what content they can create?
We never did at Nail Order. To us, the thing is, and I've seen it happen before where people get made brand ambassadors because they have 200,000 followers. But if you look at that person's account, or if you've been following it for a while and you think, oh, hang on, they jumped up a lot there or whatever, and then you look into it, because as we've talked about before, there is like different software and stuff that will show you if accounts have bought followers. So I've seen it before where people have like over 200,000, but I've been like, they've jumped up recently, and then I've looked into it, and they bought followers. I'm like, that's not even a good deal. That's not a good deal for the brand. Do you know what I mean?
So that's what I was going to switch it around at. Does your follow count really make a difference? And if it does, should you go buy followers?
Never buy followers. Never, ever buy followers. It is so glaringly obvious when people buy followers because your interaction does not match your follower count. So never buy followers. Your followers do not define you. Some of in fact, the smallest affiliate that we've ever worked with, and we'll get into affiliates, in terms of the smallest following, netted the most amount of money from us.
Because
it's true.
They're
it's
soldiers.
Genuine. Yeah, they're using these products every day. It comes across as genuine. And I feel that the people that get the least out of our affiliate scheme are the people who tend to have like massive followings. Whether or not it's because they think they don't need to put too much work in, or maybe their followers don't, hang on every word they say, like maybe smaller people. I don't know.
Yeah.
But that's definitely something we found.
I remember it was actually, I think maybe when we started getting into brand ambassadors, we found Social Blade. And that website absolutely has changed the way we look at people and brands. If all of a sudden a brand has jumped up, or a person has jumped up like 20, 30,000 followers, the first thing you think of is bought followers. And you can just jump onto Social Blade and you just see a massive big spike and you're like, nah.
But why do people do it? Like, I just don't understand. Like, it doesn't give you any clout. It's not going to make you any money at all.
It's all, was it? All
Smoke and mirrors?
All show and no balls? No? I don't know.
No.
Booty in the front and nothing in the back?
What are you talking about?
I don't know.
Never ever buy followers.
Yeah, and Social Blade's a good one because you can actually see like a score, isn't it? Like a B-, C-.
What was the one that it had an M in it?
I'm trying to remember this.
It began with an M. Modash.
Modash, where you can actually see like interactions.
And it'll give them like a score and like warning, very suspicious activity.
Yes, that's right. Actually, I seen a brand we were talking a couple of months ago. I think it was a New Start, and we were talking about it, and I'd went on to something and I'd shown them a brand, and they dropped off. I think it was something like 7,000 followers in a week, which is wild. Because all of a sudden Instagram just deleted all these fake accounts.
Oh, yeah.
And it's
and you have no control over that.
Yeah, surely people must be able to see that. It's wild.
He'd hope.
Anyway, so brand ambassador, do you think it's a no for both parts?
Yes, I think that as a brand, you have much more flexibility to work with a diverse range of content creators on a short-term period, and it can benefit both the brand and that individual much more in a short period of time than having brand ambassadors that are signed on for, say, a year, and the relationships just like goes a little bit stale naturally because the excitement fizzles out. It's kind of like a new relationship. You've got all those butterflies and it's really exciting, and you're putting in all of the work and you're going on dates and you're shaving your legs, and then
doesn't happen anymore, guys.
A year goes by.
A week.
And you haven't shaved your legs in 3 months, and you put on a bit of weight and you can't be bothered to get off the sofa.
Comfy weight.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. It's the same with anything. Everything is exciting to begin with, but then naturally that excitement fizzles out. So I think doing the short-term thing keeps things exciting for both brands and the nail techs as well.
One thing, and I think this is something you've kind of overlooked and maybe missed, is the fact that you are stuck with one brand.
Yes.
And we never promote being stuck with one brand. As much as we would love you to just be stuck with Nail Order, we don't provide everything you could possibly need, and it's silly.
Well, even if we did provide everything they possibly, we kind of do, really. But it's more to the point that not everything that we provide might work for all of your clients.
Yeah, very true.
Do you know what I mean? Or for you, you might love our gel polish, but not love our builder gel or whatever it is. So,
Gel 2.0.
I think using a mixture of brands, as much as it and I will be honest here, right? It pains me sometimes particular customers, when I see them, and Laura shouts at me about this all the time, and she said, Rebecca, you promote multi-brand use. And I'm like, I know, but it's just still difficult to see, especially some customers. And it's like, but it is for the good of, do you know what it is? It's for the good of everybody, and I'll tell you why.
Go, because I know you're leading on to go over it. Tell me why.
Okay, well, it's good for the nail tech because their customers, you're able to provide a range of products and services based on their needs. Your clients might predominantly get along with the brand that you most love, but there might be a few clients that just don't, and you have, for whatever reasons, maybe it's allergies, maybe it's retention, whatever it is. So you maybe have those other products for those customers. But also from a brand point of view, I don't know if you know what I'm going to say.
Oh,
here.
I do, baby.
Do you?
This is why Angel 2.0 came around. That's an in-house number. Don't pay attention to it.
Okay, I'm confused.
Go on.
Competition
Yeah.
makes
Better products.
better products.
Yeah.
You knew I was going to say
of
that?
Course I did.
Okay.
Honey. Again, guys.
We're gonna go collect your wedding ring from the jewelers after this. But yeah, competition breeds better products, better service from brands as well. So
in some cases.
in some
other cases, other people just get worked up and should watch their blood pressure.
Yeah. So in my mind right now, and we're not gonna talk about any other brands. I've got one brand in mind, and I would say they are our main competition. We are probably a similar size. We came up at the same time. We've got pretty similar morals and stuff like that. And that constant competition between us seeing what they're doing and them seeing what we're doing. Again, we can't speak for their opinions on what we're doing, but you see little things and you know, right? We'll do something, they maybe do it a little while, something similar a little while later, or they'll do something and, it sparks an idea. That is normal, and that is healthy competition. And what that does create, like I said, is much better products for nail technicians and also better customer service as well, because customer service is also a competition. We've got to be the best. We've got to provide the highest level of customer service that we can. And I think that's really great. And as I said, I am only human, and I do have a green-eyed monster within me, the same as everybody does. So sometimes you will see, a beloved customer, and they'll be using something from, your competitor, and be like, oh, heartbroken. But it doesn't mean they don't love you any less. And it means that they're doing exactly what we are trying to promote. And we do believe in that, and we say it all the time, and it is the best way for a nail tech to offer everything.
I'm glad you said it that way. Did that feel good inside? Because she doesn't say that like that in the office. I've seen the green-eyed monster. It is terrible.
I'm trying to be honest, and I think it is only human. It's only human, and I am a competitive individual, and I want to be able to provide the very, very best. And sometimes it is hard to swallow when you see somebody else bring something out that, is fantastic and people are loving, rightly so. And you're like, right, what can we now do to improve our offering? So I think that is a really healthy way to feel.
I also think it's hilarious that you have two different brands.
Oh yeah, you do.
Who communicate in no way sometimes. Like, I personally don't look at our Instagram, nail art or Instagram, so I don't see these brands, but you have the same ideas.
Yeah, which is absolutely crazy. Somebody sent me something yesterday. I can't remember what it was. And I was like, great minds think alike.
Yeah, and you have same or similar ideas that come out roughly about the same time.
And what people have to understand is things are, we've gone so off topic here, but it's much better because it's really organic.
Cathartic sometimes as well.
What people have to understand is how long things are in the making for, right? So we can't see one brand brings out something today, and then and then you see us bring it out tomorrow or next week or even 2 weeks later, or even a month later, or even 6 weeks later, and think that was as a reaction. Like we've seen that idea, we liked it, we just copied it. Things take months, sometimes years, to bring out, like months and months and months. Like I know, for instance, our hard gel that is free from the 4 main allergens that we discuss is probably going to come out around the same time as a competitor's hard gel, which is also free of allergens. And And they will have been working on that for a long time. I know we've been working on obviously we've had our Duragel hard gel for the best part of a year, and we started working on this not that long after. But it's just
coincidence.
It really, really is. And great minds do think alike, and also if you are a brand that is listening to what your customers want, and you've got your, eyes on the ground? No, feet on the ground. You've got your feet on the ground and you're really, truly listening, then of course you're going to react to it. If you've got, for instance, we brought out our hard gel way back when, and I said hard gel is going to make a massive comeback, and look at it. Hard gel is making a massive comeback. All the brands are starting to bring it out. But if that brand's customers are demanding it of them, if they're listening to their customers, of course they're going to bring it out. You'd be stupid not to.
Yeah, if you've been with a brand for a long time and you're looking over at our Duragel and everyone's saying hard gel's making a comeback and everyone's like blowing up about nail order, but you don't want to leave that brand. I get waiting around. I get it. That's fine. I mean, you should come and try it.
But going back to what we're saying, don't restrict yourself to one brand. That is really it's almost self-sabotaging. Yep. Going, I am hardcore X brand till I die. You're just going to hold yourself back.
Yeah, because that brand's probably going to die before you do.
Yeah, yeah. But yeah, you're going to hold yourself back, which is why being a brand ambassador, again, depending on the brand that you're working for, because some brands don't have those restrictions. I know that there are brands out there that their brand ambassador scheme isn't like a really intense thing. It's more of a sort of ad hoc basis. And they, I assume, allow people to work with, lots of brands. Whereas a lot of other brands, it is more exclusive. They don't want you to be tagging, lots of other brands in the content that you're creating for them. So that can just be naturally a bit restrictive. Don't do it. Let yourself use a multitude of brands. You might find something spectacular.
Let's move on to content creators and influencers in the nail industry. I would suggest and say that these people are massive followings, and all they do is sit at a nail desk and work away at creating content. They don't really do customers. Would that be right?
Yeah, I think, especially recently, there's become a big surge in people doing that. They've stopped doing clients and they do content creation instead. There is a big difference between a content creator and an influencer. A content creator in the industry can have a really, really small following. Their following is completely null and void, because what they are doing, they're not concentrating on growing a following, they're concentrating on creating really, really great work for individual brands. So off the top of my head, for instance, Zoya Mack. She is a content creator. She works with lots of different brands. She does nail content creating, but she also does sort of packaging content creation.
Yep.
She's not an influencer. She's not concentrating on growing her following. Her job is to create content, and different brands can pay her to do that job. Same as you'd pay a photographer or whatever it is. Influencers, I would say, are completely different to content creators. But you have it where it crosses over. Look at Anushka Anastasia. She is both an influencer. She has a very high following. People care what she says. And she's actually kind of almost like an influencer in the real world as well, not just nail world, because her following is so large.
Style as well.
But
she's pretty cool.
She is very cool. She also is a content creator, so she will do one-off projects for different brands. Who was one I saw the other day? Oh, she created an amazing wicked wand. It was amazing. I can't remember what brand it was for. Anyway, so she'll do all those sort of one-off brands. She tends to do it with a really crazy 3D nails. It's really, really cool. So she's kind of both. But yeah, there is definitely a difference between influencers and content creators. Content creators are paid to do that. Their job is being a content creator.
Okay, I'm glad you put that into context, because I didn't think about it that way, but I'm glad you did. And
being an influencer isn't a job.
Oh.
In the nail industry.
Okay.
Being an influencer
this is just the thoughts of Rebecca, not Chris.
No. What I mean is, in the nail industry, being an influencer tends not to pay. So often in the nail industry, if you are an influencer, you are gifted. Sometimes you might be paid, depending on things, or depending on exactly what is required of you. But very often it's just on a gifted basis. Whereas being a content creator, that is their job. An influencer will still work as a nail tech, which will be their predominant job. It's not like the real world where you can just be an influencer and that is your job.
So how did you become an influencer in the nail industry? Is it just all to do with following?
Yeah, but I don't think brands care. I don't think people care about following anymore. I think brand ambassadorships and influencers is kind of dead, and it's now all about the micro influencers. And I'm going to try and coin a term here. Let me think about what I'm going to say.
Hang on. Go.
Kinfluencers?
Jesus
What-
Christ, we waited for that. Oh, no, hang on.
So what I'm talking about is where your customers are your influencers. So I feel like this is kind of derived from the micro influencer thing. So brands started realizing that actually micro influencers, or people with smaller followings but more genuine followings, like we touched on beforehand, where their followers truly trust every word they say because they can see that they're using those products every day and they're genuinely passionate about it. So brands started using micro influencers. We have always kind of really been into that, like the big massive ones. I mean, it's exciting if you get somebody who's got huge following that uses your products organically, amazing. But at the end of the day, the micro influencers, the people with the smaller followings, they tend to be your actual customers. So brands are now using micro influencers and just their own customers, because who better to shout about your products and how fantastic they are than the people who use them every day and already love them?
It's a very good point.
Do you know what I mean? So that is much more of a thing in the industry now. I think the influencer situation in the industry, pretty dead.
Look, I'll put it into context. Imagine you are Boohoo or Pretty Little Thing or Old Polly. I used to own a clothing store, that's why I know those things. Paying like influencers and micro influencers and sending them stuff makes sense, right? It does, because like people follow them and they'll buy some clothes.
The nail industry is very different.
That's the
You're
thing.
talking about a product that has, what's the word I'm looking for?
To begin with, it's for professionals for the most part.
Yeah. Like it's got to be used. It's got to be functional. It's not just a piece of clothes. It's just gonna that can hang on anybody. This is very much to do with personal preference, clients. Like there's so many moving parts, isn't there, when it comes to nail products and why you like that nail product over another nail product. So yeah, who better to shout about your products than the people who use them every single day?
So would you, as the owner of Nail Order, consider using big influencers?
Far less now. I don't think they've got, this is going to be word of the episode, clout. I don't think they have the clout they used to. I look at their interaction and things, and I think it doesn't inspire me. I can think of one. I'm thinking of one right now off the top of my head. Very well known in the nail industry. Beautiful aesthetic. It just doesn't inspire me. It's not what I want as a representative of my brand. And yet initially, that could be really exciting. And then you're actually like, is it? Are the type of customer that's going to be attracted to Nail Order going to see that? No. I mean, Anushka, yeah, I would, because that's our vibe all over the place, just cool, out there, something a little bit different,
edgy,
sassy. Yeah, that, but for the most part, nah.
Yeah. So do you think, as a nail tech, that's what you want to aspire to be, like an influencer or like a micro influencer or an affiliate? An ambassador?
I think don't aspire to be an influencer. Don't aspire to be an ambassador. It generally, if you're looking to make money, that's definitely not the way to do it. Growing a massive following these days on Instagram or any social media platform, incredibly difficult. And what you'll end up doing is you'll spend all of your time trying to grow that following, and none of the time actually practicing your craft and perfecting things. So then it's like, what do you have to offer? It used to be, you got to remember that most of the influencers that you guys know of now who have really, really big followings, they came into Instagram at just the right time when it was easy to grow a following. I would say
2016, 17, 18.
2016, 17. That was probably about your time. Now, it's so hard. You've got to graft for every single follower. And is that what you want to put your time into? It's not very productive putting your time into generating followers.
Yeah. So we've seen some brands gift like it's going out of fashion. Mm-hmm. And we sometimes say they have no stock on their shelves because they're just giving it away.
I think the gifting situation this in 2024 has got out of control. And I know from our point of view, when we do gifting, it's from quite I want to say calculated point of view, in terms that We are weighing up, is this worthwhile to the nail tech and is it worthwhile to us? Just packaging a whole load of stuff up and just sending it out to anybody is wasteful.
Yeah.
It's really wasteful, like environmentally wasteful, financially wasteful. It's wasteful. For instance, for us to send out our, let's say, our builder shells to a nail tech who is very, very hardcore a certain brand, to me, completely pointless. If they have not shown any indication that they are struggling with the products that they are using, they might be interested in trying a new product, why are you sending them to them? To me, it looks like it.
Desperado.
It just looks like poaching. Like, it's not very becoming. Like, I don't know. It's like, why? What is the reason? Because you want every nail tech in the world to use your products? That's just not a realistic world that we live in. So yeah, to us, we would never send out to somebody who hasn't shown some sort of interest in not our products necessarily, in changing products. So again, if they are hardcore one brand and have nothing positive to say and have never given an inclination as wanting to try something else, we're never going to do that, because who does that serve? But things that we're looking out for, maybe people who they're asking other nail techs, asking for recommendations on different brands. That would be worthwhile. Give it a try and they might love us. Somebody who's struggling with something else. Even people who have previously reported struggling with our products. So, for instance, recently we've released our new Angel formula. Massive improvement in self-leveling. We have had such amazing feedback. I'm so happy about it. But we chose to go back in our records, go back through our group and stuff and look for people who had previously reported self-leveling and gift some things to them for them to try. Makes sense. But I think the whole gifting situation has gone really out of control, and what it has really unfortunately created is nail techs who now just assume, not obviously all nail techs, but there is a small group of people who now just assume that they can get anything for free from any brand by just literally asking. It's absolutely mad.
Well, here's the thing. So we're quite fortunate to have some nail techs to work for us, and nail techs talk to other nail techs. And one thing that is spoken about is the fact that other brands, if they reach out to these people and say, do you want to trial it? Are you going to turn around and say no? You're never going to do that. Let's be honest.
No,
even if you think to yourself, I'm no nail order till I die, it doesn't matter. These people are just going to say yes.
Of course they are.
So basically,
who would look a gift horse in the mouth, as they say?
And the amount of people that have said, I only get it just to sell it on.
Yeah, we've heard that quite a few times.
Imagine wasting that money, sending it out to
as
someone
a brand.
you've
Like,
not...
imagine finding that out, and yeah, that would be really, really heartbreaking.
Yeah.
So when we're sending stuff out, we're not sending out big collections of stuff, massive boxes filled with things. We'll send out everything that person needs to try the product. So if it's a product that requires a primer, we're going to send the primer. We're going to send the product, and then if it needs a top coat or whatever it is, we're going to send that. But we're not going to send them, 15 different colours or 5 different colours or anything like that. It's for them to sample the products to see how they get on. But yeah, that you are absolutely right. That is something that we've heard quite a few times, and it is very wasteful. So, but I would I say no if somebody offered me something for free? No, of course I wouldn't. But what isn't great is people who have never used your brand, nothing, and they're just messaging going, hi, can I get this for free? And you guys are probably thinking, nah, people don't do that.
More than you can ever imagine.
More than you can imagine.
There's actually one sitting in the inbox just now. And I've got this new Siri thing where it just summarises it. And basically it's summarised, never tried your products, want something for free. That's the summary.
Didn't.
Yeah, so when you guys get an Apple update soon, basically Siri just summarises the things from that message, and that's what Siri's taken from
But
it.
sometimes people reach out to you and they do actually have a good story that, as in, a cause that you think, do you know what, I want to, maybe they reach out and they say, I've been using X brand for, in fact, I'm not even going to say it because I'm going to give people ideas, and they'll be like, hi, I've been using X brand, I'm having trouble. But yeah, I think as a whole, brands and nail techs, we all need to learn to be a little bit less wasteful.
The thing is, mate, I can't even afford butter for my toast.
You keep saying that.
And
we have butter in the fridge.
Okay. But like, we as a brand, every bit of money that's coming in is going straight back into new products, bigger, better, building something for the future. It's not about right now. We're not trying to steal every nail tech right now. We're never going to try and
that's the thing. People aren't for the stealing.
Yeah.
People aren't for the stealing. They aren't your customers. They aren't our customers. They are just nail techs, and it's their prerogative to use whatever they want. And as a brand, if you're thinking, I want everybody to be using this, when you're living in an absolute dream world, because it's not going to happen.
All right, moving on. I think we're really going for the getting it in there today. Let's talk about our favourite thing, brand affiliates. How we use
Is that our
them.
favourite thing?
Well, that's what we do.
Yeah, so we have moved on from brand ambassadors. Like we said, we really want to be able to work with a diverse range of content creators, keep things really fun and exciting, both for us as a brand and for the nail techs as well. So we moved on to brand affiliates, and the way that we work our affiliate scheme is that each affiliate will have a 2-week slot which is dedicated to them. It doesn't
Overlap.
overlap with anybody else's, so that they have exclusivity for that time. And they can maximize their earning potential in terms of an affiliate code. We predominantly use people who organically use the brand. In fact, I think everybody organically, I think everybody.
Yeah, a lot of them let that fly otherwise.
So, they might not be like hardcore nail order, but they use some of our products, and they've shown us, or, intimated that they love certain products. Because again, that's the only way that it's going to come across genuinely. So yeah, that's what we do, affiliates. And I think it's really great because it means that it is open to such a diverse range of people, no matter what brands they use. If maybe they just absolutely adore, I don't know, our gel polish, but they've never used our builders or hard gel or anything like that, then that's absolutely fine. We'll create a sort of a campaign with them or whatever that is around those products, and that's the products that they will advertise. They won't be advertising the Angel or the Duragel or whatever. They'll be advertising the products that they actually enjoy to use.
Yeah. And do you, when you guys are looking at it, because I know as much as Laura does it, she'll run it by you, is there a certain demographic, a certain criteria you're looking for?
It is so wide. Do you know what we're predominantly looking for? Is somebody who can actually create good content, because they are not going to get a good kickback off of their... It's not going to benefit anybody if the content that they create for those 2 weeks. So, what we're looking for maybe is like, say, a reel, and then we want them to be sharing things on their stories and stuff like that for those 2 weeks. But if the piece of content they create isn't sort of showstopper, doesn't grab people's attention, then it's not really going to do much for them. So we are looking for somebody who can create a really good piece of content. Following does not matter whatsoever. They enjoy using some of our products, no matter what the products are. And what we're really hoping for when we do this is somebody who's going to put in some effort. The more effort you put in, the better your code is going to do. We give people a whole list of hints and tips and things that they can do to maximize it, and the amount of work they put in will transfer and pay out equally.
During that 2 weeks, is there like a set schedule where you guys try and get certain things in, like a reel a day or anything?
No,
like
I think it's just one reel that we try and do, and I think we do it as a collab. You're asking me the questions. I could be absolutely lying here because it's Laura that runs social media, but I think we try and do it as a collaborative one as well. So it'll be posted on our page and their page as well. But there's no like set thing. There's not. It can be whatever you want it to be, but the more work you put in, the better it's going to pay off.
Do you want to talk money, like how it works in terms of financials?
I mean, probably don't want to get into the nitty gritty, but essentially they get a code every time the code is used. So the customer gets a discount when they use code, and they get a small kickback when the code is used.
Yeah, it's like most affiliate schemes.
Exactly.
So for instance, if you see people on TikTok trying to flog toilet paper, that's an affiliation.
Yeah.
They're just basically trying to get some sort of kickback from it.
Yeah. I
So
think
it is the same, but I think it's slightly better because you're doing something you like, not just
Yeah,
trying to
exactly.
flog toilet paper.
And the thing is, people are like, oh, why don't you just have the affiliates on long term? Because that can become really, really stale as well, and then just doesn't work for anybody. And it puts a lot of pressure on people. But if we're doing a 2-week period, I know for those 2 weeks, I'm going to do X, Y, and Z to maximize this. I've got that little bit of content that I need to create. We also try generally plan them months in advance. So you have plenty of time. You can create that content whenever you want. Just have it sitting on the back burner, and then it's ready to go when we're ready to go. But yeah, there's no like fixed number of following, like we've had 1,500 Instagram followers. Somebody with 1,500 do a code, and they earn the most money. So, and then we've had people with tens of thousands, maybe even 100,000. I'm not sure, but yeah.
Yeah. So wide variety. So if someone wanted to become a nail order affiliate, what's the kind of steps to get into it? I know it's something we personally choose to, but if they wanted to,
it's something that we will seek out in somebody. Maybe and it tends to come around organically. But if it is something that you want to put the feelers out there for, and this is something to say as well, never be offended if you don't get chosen, because there are reasons. There are lots of reasons behind it. There's a lot of things that we need to think about that, there's a lot that goes into it. So don't ever be offended. And also don't let it stop you from trying again at a later date. But if it is something that you're interested in, you can email marketing@nailorder.co.uk.
Nice one.
Laura is going to kill us for saying that.
I'll leave a link in the show notes and in the YouTube description.
She's going to love that. But yeah, that is the main thing with affiliates.
I know we have a couple of people on our payroll who do content creation for us. Do you think that's a good way for brands to be able to have a kind of stable relationship with someone?
Yeah, I think it is. I do. Because you can, ask them for specific things every month. So we have, 2 people? I think it's pretty good.
Is there anything you want to cover lastly about what we've discussed today?
I think let's stop putting weight behind being a brand ambassador. It's not going to elevate you in any way. Honestly, it's not. You're going to have so much more freedom just being you and not being permanently affiliated with another brand. If you want to do an affiliate thing for a couple of weeks, fantastic. You want to do some content creation, which is on a paid-for basis, a brand pays you whenever they need it done, fantastic. You're not tied to anything there. And it will keep things a little bit more exciting for you as well. Don't concentrate on having to grow your following, because growing your following has no bearing on anything. It really doesn't. It's just for vanity, really, isn't it?
I think in both parts, like we said right at the very start, having brand ambassadors for us when we first started out was vanity.
Yeah, it was.
Us taking on someone who maybe had, I don't know, I can't even think, but I don't know what a metric would have been, maybe say 30,000, 40,000, 50,000.
I don't think we ever had a brand ambassador with that following.
I don't know. I can't remember. But that would have been, again, more vanity. Also, switch around if you're a nail tech and you're like, I've got to 20,000 followers and it's all organic. Absolutely amazing for you.
Oh, really amazing. Fantastic.
If you've got to 100,000 and it's not all organic.
What's the point? But also, who cares what your following is?
Yeah, probably delete and start again.
Yeah.
You see better engagement, actually.
Yeah, you probably will. You will see better engagement, and that's what matters, engagement. If you buy 100,000 followers and your engagement's crap, Instagram isn't going to put that out to people because they're like, people don't want to see it.
Yep.
But if you've got 1,500 followers and you're getting 100 likes on each of your picture, then Instagram's going to keep pumping that out to people because that's what they think people want to see.
Yeah, well done you. If that is you, well done.
Stay true to yourself.
That's a good one. Stay true to yourself and don't care what anyone else thinks.
No.
It's always good to think, like, if you have these internal thoughts, and I'm going to say this to my wife here, if you have these internal thoughts, and the thoughts are bad, like I'm doing bad, our company's doing bad, something is doing bad. Always think to yourself, would my best friend say this to me? If your best friend would say it to you, that's probably true. But let's be honest, if you're saying all these things internally, when your best friend wouldn't say that to you, then it's probably not true.
Very true.
And that leads us on to a perfect saying that we always say here at Nail Order. Your perception is your reality. And if I'm honest with you, if you step outside that, it's probably a million miles away from actual reality.
It's so true that your perception is your reality, because like if you get a bee in your bonnet about something, right? You're the one that's creating the narrative for that story. Like nobody else is. You're the one that's like obsessing over it and making it grow arms and legs. And they're out to get me or whatever it is. Like that is all on you. Like all on you. The reality of the actual situation is that probably people aren't even like giving you a thought negatively. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So yeah, perception is your reality. And I think, yeah.
It's a good one, right?
It is a good one.
Also, watch your blood pressure.
But how do you make your reality?
Ask people. Do more listening than talking is a good one. Ask people, do you think this is happening? Because I personally, I've done this myself where I think that somebody's having just a bad thing. But what could have potentially have happened is the offices, there's lots of people talking, and I've just maybe misheard something. And I'm thinking to myself, God, they're really at
It's
it
a
today.
very, very good point, because whenever we talk about certain situations, we'll go, I can't believe that between that many people, not one person came up and said that that was a bad idea or that was a silly thing to do.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I guess sometimes you are going to find like 5 people who all have terrible ideas. But in general, if
Monday morning meeting.
if you speak to people and you put something out there, then you're going to, be
Yeah.
like, do you think that the way I'm looking at this is actually accurate? And people are probably going to be like, no.
Yeah, ask questions and listen to people, I think, is one of the biggest things. A lot of people just don't listen. They're just laser focused on the bad crap that's happening today, or what they
2
think.
ears and 1 mouth.
Use them in that ratio. That is a good one. All right, guys, we've kept you for long enough this week.
This is a weird podcast
it is.
today.
I don't know why. Do you know what it is? It's the first day it's rained in Scotland since we've done this podcast.
So it is.
Probably, and that's just thrown us off ever so slightly.
My mind is very full of
Just going to
things.
shake it off. I was cleaning the toilet, and that's what I'm going to do after this. Excellent. Am I going to get a beer today?
I don't know.
Am I going to get a roll today? For you guys who don't, if you've just joined us, you've just started subscribing,
They've probably unsubscribed now they've listened to this.
tell them about my roll for you.
You have reached your roll quota for your life.
If you guys don't know what a roll is, it's like a roll, it's like a bap, it's like something like a burger bun. That's what a roll is here in the UK. And apparently I've reached my quota for the rest of my life. Rebecca has put a halt on me having rolls. It's been, I'd say, 10 weeks now, 12 weeks since I've had a roll.
I think we talked about this in the first episode, didn't we?
Yeah, but I've had like probably maybe like 3 or 4 a month. I've not had one for weeks and weeks and weeks. And I kind of feel it's getting to that time. We're almost at Christmas. So in the next podcast, what are we talking about? It's a good one because people have been asked. This is the one thing that everyone's been asking
Allergies.
about. Allergies and lamps.
Is that what we're talking about next?
Allergies and lamps. That's going to be next week. And that's going to lead us on to a couple of other things that are coming up over the next few weeks. Again, Dakota is getting his hip replaced. So we're going to have to record these all over the place. It can't just be up to date. So if you have any thoughts, any considerations, any questions, moreover, that you want to be answered on next week's pod, which is all to do with allergies in the industry and lamps, I think is going to really dominate it. Drop them in the comments below in the YouTube channel. If you're listening on Apple Podcasts and Spotify, first of all, drop down and give us 6 stars. You can't give us 6 stars, you can give us 5 and then leave a nice little comment. But if you could then jump over to our Instagram or TikTok and ask us or send us a message in there if you have any questions you want asked. If you want answered.
What is this Instagram? I've never seen this Instagram page you talk about.
Well, do you know what? I'm actually going to have to give it to you because I've given up on it.
But I just don't think we need an Instagram.
Okay. Well,
I think get rid of the Instagram
Chris
and just
and
message
Becca.
us on TikTok.
yeah, message on TikTok. Rebecca will get that.
Oh, for God's sake.
And we'll put that into next week's podcast. And trust me, guys, next week is going to be a good one. And then it's going to lead on to some good stuff that is happening that we've been working on for months. Mm-hmm. Is that months? Mm-hmm. 6?
Yeah, months.
When I say months, that means like 2 to 3 months. When I say months, that means like up to 6 months. When I say months, I mean more than 6 months.
Yeah.
So yeah, we've got good things to finish out this year.
Yes,
And
we
the
do.
pod after that should be run up to Black Friday.
Yes.
Deals that are coming your way.
And talking about how to maximize your spending for your salon or minimize your spending.
Yeah.
Maximize and minimize.
Maximize the opportunities.
Yes.
That's a really good one. Get us out here.
So, guys, if you are watching on YouTube and you enjoyed that, make sure you give us a thumbs up and be sure to subscribe to be notified when we release our next episode.
Thanks for watching, guys. Thanks for listening.